Okay, we've got the foundations in place. Now the exciting bit. Now you're going to clone or copy my template of the brain and copy it to your computer. I think the best way to illustrate this is an image. So over here, this is my template. So this lives on my GitHub account, and you're going to clone or copy this once onto your computer. And then, so it maintains this kind of link. We'll come back to that. But then as you work, as you connect this to your Google Ads account maybe, or create images, write posts, all of the work that you can do inside the brain, and there are so many different options, we'll get to that in a bit, you're going to save your files into your GitHub repository. And Claude Code can create that for you. You'll need to set up the GitHub account once, and obviously remember, I can't talk today, remember your username and password. You'll give that to Claude Code at some stage. And then every time you create more work, you save that over onto GitHub. Do more work, save it to GitHub. If you ever change computers, or you need to get a backup of those files, I don't know, your computer gets stolen, you have a new computer, or you have your desktop and your laptop. So you're working away on your desktop, you're pushing files into your GitHub account. If you then want to travel and work on the laptop, you then pull all of the data down, all of the files. It doesn't really matter how many you've got. I think mine has about 10,000 files now. You pull down those files from your GitHub account onto, let's say, your second computer. You work there, and then when you're done, you push the files back to your GitHub repo. So you work locally on your computer, but GitHub is the source of truth. That's where all of your files permanently live whenever you're making changes. So I'm pushing or saving files to my GitHub account multiple times a day. And if you don't know how to do that, that's completely fine. You don't need to learn any of these crazy weird commands. You just say to Claude Code, save all my files, please. That's really all you need to say. And then once a month, I'm updating the template. So at the beginning of each month, I push out a new version of the brain, and then you can say to Claude Code, hey, Mike's just updated the members template. Go grab all the new files, please. And I've created a command to make that easier. We'll get to commands a bit later, but essentially, well, all of that will be explained in the Circle post, which I'll explain in just a second here. Let me just back up one sec and just talk about cloning versus if I just gave you a zip file of all of the files inside of the brain, because I could technically do that, and that'd be one way to do it. You'd get all of the files, but then now what? Now you're supposed to sort of, I don't know, keep coming back to some place to get the new version of the zip file. I mean, this is kind of how scripts work, but it's a bit clunky and it's a bit messy. With this clone thing, like I say, you've kind of got this dotted line back to my version of the member template. Your copy remembers that, stays connected to it, so that next month it's much easier for you to go and grab the files that have changed and just pull down, say, the latest research. All of those new YouTube transcripts, you can grab all of those, and it merges that into your version of the brain. So it doesn't wipe out what you've done during the past few weeks and put a new blank template over the top. That wouldn't be very useful. So it's very, very clever in terms of how it understands which files have changed, which ones have stayed the same, and does the merging of those two things together in a very smart way. To get the special link that gives you access to the member template, obviously I'm not going to put this in a video that might end up going public. So it's kind of like a password, essentially. If you go to the 80/20 Brain space in the members area in Circle, which is this link here, pinned to the top of that space, you're going to find the latest update. So today is early February 2026. I just pushed the February update. That is pinned at the top of that space. And in there, you're going to find a couple of commands for Mac and for Windows. And I usually give these to you as sort of a 3 or 4 line plain English command, because you're going to paste this into Claude code. If it's a completely fresh install of the Brain, you've never installed Brain before, then it might look something like this, or it will look something like this, where I'm giving you the exact command that you need to enter into. Potentially, you could do this into terminal, but ideally, I want you to paste this into Claude code. So as long as you've been able to get Claude code installed, even if you've never made a copy of the Brain before, you can drop this command into Claude code and it will figure out what all of this gobbledygook means. And in the middle of that gobbledygook is this huge long string of letters and numbers. This is called a personal access token. That's what PAT stands for, personal access token, which gives you access into the members template, which is why I can't share that anywhere. Okay, it's just in the members area because I'm relying on Circle to keep that post private. Obviously, please don't share this link with anybody outside of the community. This is a valuable asset that you get as being part of the community, and we want to keep this for community members. I know people are going to copy it and copy the idea for it, but let's keep it as ours for as long as possible. And I'll have different commands there for Mac and Windows for you. Now, what you should see when all of that's copied, and we'll have a little tour in a moment, is you'll see a bunch of files down the left-hand side. This Claude Markdown file is one of the most important files. We'll talk about that in a moment. This .claude folder, this is where all of your skills are going to live, along with a bunch of other stuff. And then we've got some other folders, which I'll explain in the next video. That's what we're going to cover next, what all of these folders are, what the purpose is of each of those. I'll see you there. Bye for now.